Welcome to the Retirement Income Show. I'm Mark Elliott alongside the CEO and founder of Oak Harvest Financial Group, Troy Sharpe. Troy is a certified financial planner. Troy and the team are here to help you when it comes to your retirement. How do you create a plan? Well, at Oak Harvest, it's called the Retirement 360 process. Income strategies, investment strategies, tax-efficient strategies, healthcare, long-term care, legacy, estate planning. Well, what about Social Security, Troy? Well, that's in the income part. What about Medicare? It's in the healthcare part. A lot of moving parts. If you have any questions about what Troy talks about and you'd like to have a conversation with somebody on Troy's team or Troy himself, give him a call. There's no cost, there's no obligation, there's no pressure. The number is 800-822-6434, 800-822-6434. You can call just for a phone conversation, for a Zoom meeting if you're more comfortable with that, or you want to come into the office. 800-822-6434. If you want to find out more about Troy and the team, there's some great information on the website. That is Oak Harvest FG Financial Group, oakharvestfinancialgroup.com. And, of course, we talk about it from time to time on the program. Troy's YouTube channel, just search for Troy Sharpe, Oak Harvest. Troy's got 100-plus videos out there now on the YouTube channel talking about retirement and talking about financial situations that we all will probably have to know more about by the time we get to that retirement stage. And it's about planning before you get there. It's about being proactive, not reactive. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. I would think it's one of the normal questions you get, Troy. Hey, Troy, can I retire? When can I retire? Do I have enough? Will my money last? Will my loved ones be okay if something happens? Basically, are we retirement ready? Am I retirement ready? That's a big question. And I would think people that don't work in your world, because you help people do this every day, I've never retired before. I don't really know all the issues that I need to understand. That's a pretty common question, I would think. Am I retirement ready?
It's one of the big questions. So our process, Retirement 360, we've designed it to answer what we found to be the 5 biggest questions that the wide majority of people that we sit down with, and this is, over many, many years, thousands of prospective clients, it all comes back to these 5 big questions. So first question is, do I have enough? Can I retire? How long will my money last? How do I pay less tax? And if something happens to me, will my family be okay? So despite our circumstances, how much money we have saved, how much we spend, where we're at in life, despite the various differences that we all have in those areas, those same questions still come into play. Do I have enough? Can I retire? How long will my money last? How do I pay less tax? And if something happens to me, will my family be okay? So we've designed the Retirement 360 process to be a step-by-step process that goes through, and when we're complete with that process, you have a plan in place that its sole purpose is to help you sleep a little bit better at night because you have answers to all those questions. And retirement, it's almost, for so many people, it's like a big gray, dark, black cloud that's opaque and we can't see through it. We've accumulated this money. Let's say it's $700,000 or $1.2 million or $3 million or whatever that number is. That's what you've accumulated. But how do you take that and turn it into an income without hopefully getting into principal? How do you take that and how do you pay less tax? Most people have no idea how much they'll pay in tax in retirement. And most people also are unaware that without a tax plan, you're looking at paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, most likely, more than you otherwise would have to with a tax plan. So, and then the big question there, of course, is if something happens to me, will my family be okay? For most of the people that we sit down with, the one spouse is handling all of the finances. If something happens to you, will your family be okay? 75% of women, when their husband passes away, they switch financial advisors. And part of the reason is because they're essentially starting from scratch. They either weren't involved in the process of building a plan. I'd say most often there is no plan in place whatsoever. The surviving spouse just simply inherits a bunch of assets, investment accounts, a lot of times may not know where it is, everything at least. And that leads to 75% of the time, women switching financial advisors and having to go through that planning process and find the firm and find the right people to work with because they don't know if they're going to be okay because there was never a plan in place to begin with and they weren't involved in that process. So that big question is answered, that yes, if something happens to you, your spouse will be okay. So that's what Retirement 360 is. It's a process where we go through and answer those big questions. And what that does is that helps you feel a little bit more comfortable that you've addressed the things that you need to, from managing risk, protecting your principal, generating income, paying less tax, looking out for health care, the estate plan, all of those things wrapped into one place where you can get that done. And then if something does happen to you, your spouse knows where to go, because all of that is in one place. And that's what the process is. 1-800-822-6434. That's the phone number. If you'd like to give us a call, just simply reach out to us. And on the weekends here, we don't have people working. So we just simply ask that you leave a message. We'll give you a call back on Monday. Frank is going to be the person that calls you. And Frank's a great guy. He's been with me for 10 years. I don't have Frank working on the weekends to answer these calls because he's taking care of his father. His father has had some health issues over the past few years. So obviously we want Frank at home taking care of his family. And Monday morning, Frank's going to come into the office. He's going to give you a call. We get several calls. And we've started recording these shows on YouTube as well. So we're getting a lot of calls from the YouTube videos, not just the radio show we're recording. But Frank will give you a call. It may not be first thing Monday morning. He goes through the list and starts to return calls. And all he's going to do is talk to you about what's important to you. He's going to get a little information, understand your situation. And if you're a good fit for what we do in our Retirement 360 process, Frank's going to get either a first visit scheduled where you can come down to our Bunker Hill office right on I-10 in Bunker Hill. It's in Memorial City. You can come down, sit down, have a cup of coffee with us, and go through what's important to you, some of the numbers, some of the data, and help us gather that information so our team of analysts can go through it. And on that second visit, when you come back, we're going to review that analysis with you and start to answer those questions. Do you have enough? Are you doing things the right way? What can we be doing differently? If you continue down your current path, how much tax are you going to pay versus if you start doing it the Oak Harvest way, how much could you save? 1-800-822-6434, 1-800-822-6434.
Glad you're with us today for the Retirement Income Show with Troy Sharpe, the CEO and founder of Oak Harvest Financial Group, A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. By the way, I'm Mark Elliott. Now we're talking about, are you retirement ready? How in the world do you know? And I know in your Retirement 360 process, really it starts with income. And I know that just by listening to you. My question for you is, Troy, do most people, when they come in, think that retirement planning is all about their investments?
Yeah, 95% of the time. I rarely, and again, we've sat with thousands of families. I rarely see anyone come in that actually has any type of retirement plan. And this may sound shocking. It may seem, impossible, but rarely does somebody actually ever come in and say, Troy, this is what I'm doing to reduce taxes. Okay, this is what I'm doing to generate income. This is how much I'm taking from my IRA. This is how much I'm taking from my non-IRA. This is how much I'm converting over to Roth. This is how I'm protecting my principal. It's typically people come in and they have an investment portfolio. The investment portfolio doesn't tell you where to take your income from. This is why part of the reason why that 60-40 mantra that, in my opinion, is quite antiquated, because one, if you put 40% of your money into bonds, you're making 1 or 2%. If you're making any more than that, you're probably in junk bonds, or you're in what we call a leveraged bond fund, because interest rates simply aren't paying anything today. We're starting to see a little bit of inflation creep into the picture. Interest rates are anticipated to rise over the next 10 years. Normalize, let's say, at least get more towards some type of normalization in the interest rate environment. That means your bonds are likely to lose money. But when that 60-40 philosophy came about, was about 30 or 40 years ago. And interest rates were much higher then. So it made sense to put your low-risk money into bonds when interest rates were anticipated to decline over the coming decades. That those decades are also the same decades that you would be going through your retirement. Think about your parents, possibly grandparents. When interest rates go down, bond values go up. So if you could put $400,000, $800,000, if you could put whatever your safe money was into government bonds paying you 10% or even 6%, and then as interest rates came down, your principal also went up in value, that's a tremendous deal. It made sense back in the day to have a 60-40 portfolio for retirement. But right now, you put 40% into bonds, then even if it's 30% or 50 or 60 or whatever that number is for you, you're getting very, very, very low interest on that part of your portfolio. You cannot expect any significant growth in that part of your portfolio if you also expect interest rates to rise. So that's typically what we see. No one's coming in with a plan. They're simply coming in with their investment portfolio. And that is just one part of an overall retirement plan. So what we do for our clients is we have a digital plan, one where you're connected to it 24 hours a day. Your accounts are linked up to it. We review it. We track your progress. If you're at 95% probability, we want to maintain at 95%. We don't want to see it going down. If it's going down, we need to have a conversation. Either you're spending too much, we should change the investment strategy. There are various things that may be causing that number to increase, decrease, or stay level, but ultimately we want to be tracking the progress. About every 6 months is when we have reviews with clients, so we're tracking that. Let's call it, I guess that's semi-annually. And then after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of being a client, we have a very, very clear track record of how your performance and how your lifestyle choices, how much you're spending, how all of that has progressed over the past few years when we built that plan. So it's not about where you necessarily are today. It's about how well you stay on track with your choices, with your investments according to the plan. Now, it's not a budget. It's not something you're stuck to. It's expected to fluctuate. But what I'm saying is when you're connected to your plan and you don't just have assets, you have assets as part of a plan that focuses on investments, protecting your principal, generating income, reducing taxes, looking at healthcare, managing the estate side of things. Now you're connected. Now you can sleep a little bit better at night. And that's what the Retirement 360 process is about. 1-800-822-6434, 1-800-822-6434. Give us a call, but you're going to leave a message. Nobody's going to sell you anything. Nobody's going to talk to you on the weekends when you call. You simply have to leave a message. And Frank will give you a call back Monday, and he's going to talk about what's important to you. If you're a good fit for our process, he's going to schedule a time where you can give us a call with one of our advisors. You can come sit down here at Bunker Hill and I-10 at our HQ, or we can do a Zoom meeting. Typically, people either come to the HQ or we do a phone call for that first meeting, and we're trying to identify if we can provide value, if you're a good fit for us, and it's about the relationship. So we're not a transactional firm. So we need to be able to provide value over time, and we look for people that are serious about retirement planning. It's again, this is not a transactional relationship. We do require relationships with our clients. It is the most important thing, because when you put a plan together, the plan is only as good as the monitoring and updating and adjustments that are made over time. And trust me, with all the tax changes that we have coming, sweeping legislation, which is going to completely alter the tax code in every aspect of it, which we'll get into in a little bit in this next segment, this is why relationships are required. So visit us at oakharvestfinancialgroup.com. Check out the YouTube channel. You can go to youtube.com, simply search Oak Harvest Financial Group. We have 100 to 110 videos out there now. We're starting to see a lot of success with the YouTube channel, so we've started to record these shows. So we not only have the Retirement Income Show on the website, but now you can go and watch it on YouTube as well. So those are progressively being put out there. And of course, give us a call again, 1-800-822-6434.
So we're just getting started on the program today. Our really main kind of question we're trying to answer is, how do we know if we're retirement ready? There's a lot of moving parts. Troy has talked about the Retirement 360 process, and we're going to touch on taxes when we come back, but we're also going to talk about risk. If you think your retirement's all about your investments, then my guess is you're probably taking a lot of risk in your portfolio. We're going to discuss risk, whether you have too much or not enough, and how do we know if we have the right amount. Everybody's situation is different. We're going to get into that a little bit as well. This is the Retirement Income Show with Troy Sharpe, the CEO and founder of Oak Harvest Financial Group. Back right after this.